Hey guys, Gray here with another Destiny video. In today's video, I want to go over a build that might seem pretty simple and basic on the surface, but I found a way to sort of make it a little more intricate and a little more fun. And this build is going to be centered all around Guardian games. And it's a build that you could use on your Titan, and really you could find ways to make it work on other classes, but it does work the best for Titan is kind of what I had in mind throwing this together. I wanted to come up with a build that I could just use sort of universally. Obviously, there are times with the bounties and Guardian games where you need to use a specific subclass, but for all the other times where you're just farming the activities, trying to get your laurels and your medals completed, this build is going to work pretty well for you in any PvE activity. You'll be able to use this, and it's just, you know, been a lot of fun putting this together, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I sort of, obviously, we all know Titans are using the insurmountable Skullfort with, you know, combined with the arc abilities, and that's simple enough and you can get away with that, but I wanted to take it one step further and just, you know, make it a little more interesting, make it a little more fun. That way you're not just mindlessly farming. You can at least have some sort of mechanic to play with while you're doing that. So if this information helps you out, please drop a like below and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon for Destiny, it seems like. There's been some leaks recently talking about the fall expansion. Bungie seems to be kicking it into high gear with some of their responses to issues in the game. So we're going to have a lot of stuff to cover here on the channel in the coming weeks. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But we'll get into the build now and talk about kind of what I'm working with here. So like I said, starting off, this build is going to be centered around the insurmountable Skullfort exotic for the Titans. This, if you don't know, has a perk on it where any kill with an arc melee ability triggers health regen and restores your melee energy. And it does more than just that. It gives you your melee back completely in full. If you get a melee kill with your ability, you get your melee back. And it's an extremely strong exotic for PvE. It's very straightforward. If you use it with something like shoulder charge, you can shoulder charge, get a kill, and you immediately have your shoulder charge again. And that's simple enough for Guardian games. You can use that to farm your laurels out. It's very simple, but I wanted to make it a little more fun and throw in some of the seasonal exotic, or not exotic, but some of the seasonal mods that we've gotten to make it a little more interesting, spice it up a little bit. And the first thing I came to was some of the artifact mods we have. We're looking at Lightning Strikes Twice and Tyrant's Surge. Tyrant's Surge is the main part about this. This perk, or this mod rather, whenever you deal damage with an arc melee, super, or grenade, it spawns a Warmind cell. We'll talk about what we're doing with those cells in a minute, but this is already going to be really great because we're going to have essentially unlimited melees with insurmountable Skullfort. So we'll be able to consistently spawn these Warmind cells. We're also going to use the other one, Lightning Strikes Twice. After throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade recharge for a short time. Arc final blows extend the duration of it. It's really like a stat bonus. It actually gives you an increase to your discipline for the duration of the buff. So you can kind of, every time you use your grenade, you'll get a little bonus and start to get your grenade back faster. So that's the basic premise. And I wanted to take that even further with some of these Rasputin mods we have access to. The first thing we're going to look at is this mod here, Warminds Light. This one's very unique because it kind of ties back to the Season of Dawn mods. And it states right here, you become charged with light whenever you collect a Warmind cell. So anytime you get one to spawn, if you run up to it, you can sort of pick it up. And it's going to give you a stack of charged with light. And that's going to be very beneficial. There's some really cool mods we can use with charged with light. And immediately we go over, and the way I want to use those charges of light is with this other mod from Season of Dawn called Firepower. And while you're charged with light, every time you use your grenade, you get a portion of your grenade energy back. And so that's very beneficial. The whole idea behind the build is just to have as much uptime on our abilities as possible, be it melees, grenades, or our supers. So, you know, we're using our melees to generate the Warmind cells, which is going to help us get our grenades back faster. And we kind of start to create this gameplay loop a little bit by using firepower. There's a couple other things you can throw in to, you know, accentuate it however you want. I started using enhanced impact induction here on my arms. And that's going to make it so anytime we deal damage with a melee attack, it also reduces the grenade cooldown even further. So our melees reduce the grenade cooldown, our stacks of charged with light reduce the grenade cooldown, and the other mod, Lightning Strikes Twice, is also going to reduce the cooldown of our grenades. So it seems like kind of overkill, but the mods are all available and you might as well use them, and it's a lot of fun. And if we use it with the top tree striker right here, you have the 2 grenades to begin with as well as shoulder charge. So you literally almost have unlimited abilities while you're using a build like this, just messing around with some of the seasonal mods. You don't have to go crazy with it. You know, you can see my stats aren't perfect. It's really just throwing the mods on your gear and making it work for you. I mean, I only have 70 discipline. If you had more, this will work even better because you'll consistently always have your grenades. And if you're curious about weapons you want to use, I would recommend using, you know, a 7th Seraph weapon. In this case, I'm using the auto rifle, the 7th Seraph carbine, just as my primary, just to have it. There will be some periods where you don't have something on cooldown, so you'll have to use your guns. This can spawn Warmind cells to help you get the ball rolling again. So it's very beneficial to have, you know, one of the 7th Seraph weapons. But I kind of pictured this build in my head as a really close quarters build. So I went ahead and started using the 4th Horseman because it's also arc damage. It's going to increase the benefit of our grenade recharge again. And I'm also using an arc sword. So you'll be real up in their face. You're constantly throwing grenades, doing your melees, and getting your abilities back consistently. I know it's a little in-depth and it might be kind of overkill. I just wanted to take a basic idea and stretch it as far as I could to come up with a fun build that I can use universally across all of Guardian games. So I've got a lot of gameplay here in the background, you know, clips of me running forges, and I went to a lost sector so I could kind of give a breakdown about how you'd want to approach combat with this build. So apologies for the ranting a little bit. I know that was a lot to sort of get through just breaking down the build here. But I want to just show you some perfect examples of what you should try and do. You can see in this lost sector, I'm going to run right up, shoulder charge a mob, and if you notice, I can you immediately pick up the charge with light if you're lucky. You get the melee and you'll sort of be right in proximity to get the charge with light immediately. So you can just throw your grenade, start getting your grenade regen, and you can see I just run up, shoulder charge another guy, and I have both my grenades again. You're constantly having abilities that are spawning laurels. You can use your shoulder charge, your grenades, and if anything is off cooldown, you have some very powerful weapons to help you clear mobs. But you're going to want to run and pick up those Warmind cells to get your stacks of charge with light. And by default, you can have 2 stacks of charge with light. There are mods that make it so you can carry more if you would like. I just really never ended up having more than 2 stacks of charge, and you only have 2 grenades to really use, so you never really need more than that to begin with. But this, you know, you can do a lot with these Rasputin mods, and this was just an idea I had. I'm sure that you could take it a whole nother direction. You can make it more melee-centric. You can do a lot of stuff. You could just blow up the Warmind cells, but the unfortunate thing is that the Warmind cells don't really count as ability kills. You're not going to be generating laurels if you kill enemies with the Warmind cells. That's kind of what led me to some of the other mods about how I can pick them up and use them specifically. So I hope this is making sense, and I hope I'm not overcomplicating something that's pretty straightforward, but I really enjoyed this build. Obviously, Titans are dominating the Guardian games, and builds like this may not exactly help. It's just going to make it a little easier. But I'm having a lot of fun diving into Guardian games, and this build has been a blast. So I just wanted to give a quick rundown of it and give you some ideas of you can tinker with something like this and make your own build too. But I figured it was fun. Don't sleep on some of those seasonal mods. They can do some really powerful things in PvE. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, again, please leave a like below for me and consider hitting that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot to cover in Destiny coming up soon. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate the support I've gotten on the channel from you guys lately, and I'm excited to be back covering Destiny again. I apologize again for being away. I was kind of messing around covering Valorant for a little while, but I wanted to just come back to Destiny. It's my bread and butter. It's where I'm most comfortable, and I'm having a lot of fun making these videos again. So again, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Take care.